What if your passport is the biggest thing holding you back to reaching your absolute total potential? Now, I obtained my second nationality more than a decade ago, but then after that, I started collecting more and more. Now, some people will say 1 is plenty, 2 doesn't make any sense, 3 is excessive, and 4 is just crazy. But the reality is, the more I've been doing this, and I have been in this industry, citizenship by residency, for 15 years, the more I understand all the challenges that my clients have had and why they got second passports, the more I realize that in these days, you need more than 2. Hi, this is Jeremy from the Millionaire Migrant. I help entrepreneurs and investors avoid all the costly mistakes that they could be making in their global investment strategy. These are mistakes I had to learn the hard way, and so I'm going to share 25 years of experience from me starting from the beginning, from the bottom to where I am today, to be able to let you guys take advantage of all the opportunities around the world. So if you're stuck in a system right now that doesn't reward hard work, doesn't give you a path to growth, then I'm here to show you the path to financial freedom and show you all the global possibilities that you didn't know existed. Now, I'm the CEO and founder of one of the world's best known second passport firms, but I also get passports second, third, fourth, and I'm on my way to 5th and 6th. So this video is for those people who also want to follow the same path. So your passport is something that is given to you at birth. So it's quite ironic that it has the biggest impact on everything you do now in the present and for the future, but it was actually decided before you were born, e.g. in the past. And what happens is that everything you do in your life, everything you achieve, everything you study for, everything you acquire, and all the risks that pay off are all tied to that one thing that you had no influence on whatsoever. So I have noticed a lot of clients saying that I am not this person anymore, and this holds me back, and I have managed to achieve X, and therefore I need to protect X. And one of these things is through using a second passport. Now, a residency can help you. A company, a holding company can also help you, but a passport is something that all of these things will come back to you. People ever heard the expression, a UBO is the ultimate beneficial owner. Now, the thing is that will come to your passport, and what passport that is, today may be fine, tomorrow might not be. And I can give you a lot of examples of how things have changed. So the most obvious one is, obviously, if you were Russian, you're living your life fine, you have the Olympic Games in Sochi, you'll have the World Cup, and the next minute you're getting all your accounts frozen, you can't do any business, and you have to sell your property in Europe, but you sell it at a discounted rate. And all of that had nothing to do with you. It was because of somebody else who made a decision of which you had no agency over. And so people are tired of having decisions made at state level or because of one individual, and it is negatively impacting their future, but is also affecting everything that is tied to that one passport. So for over 15 years now, I've been helping thousands of families be able to take advantage of all the opportunities around the world. So acquire second nationalities, acquire residencies, golden visas, and what have you. But what I've noticed now is that each one of these passports, if it's part of a particular area, so it's an EU country or a South American country, and you get the benefits of that block, or you'll get the ASEAN, which is the Southeast Asia, or you have the CARICOM, each of them would also have some kind of communal benefits. So that can help you for your business. That's one example. It can help you for education. So this is a benefit. So for example, I had clients that got a Grenada passport, moved to Grenada, and because they were Grenadian and their kids were studying Grenada, he was able to put, I think, 3 out of his 5 kids totally through the Grenadian education, which is St. George's University, which is a very well-renowned university. It's actually, I think it's American or Canadian, but their campus is there. So 5 or 6 years through a medical university, completely free. He made his money back on the passport. So I've seen the impact it has in terms of education. You also have benefits on healthcare as well. And some of these benefits you can have in residency. So for example, if you're a resident of a European country, you get advantage of that even as a resident. Even if you have a child in Portugal, for example, as soon as you have a child, because of the law that you have, which is jus soli, is that if you have a child while you're already a resident within the first year, that child will be able to get the EU nationality. So you have that benefit as well. So you have business, you have healthcare, you have education. There are multiple benefits that are available to anyone who decides to get a nationality from that country. Now, the way that tax works is more about where you are actually residing or not residing and where your financial nexus is. So we do a lot of videos talking about this, explaining to people, control foreign corporations and permanent establishment laws and everything. So passports don't play the same role to the same extent as residency and tax residency. However, it does allow a degree of separation for, obviously, hopefully, I would hope that you guys would be doing it for the right reason, but it does give you a degree of separation if you don't want to be able to be under scrutiny and finding yourself on the wrong side of a prejudice because of your nationality. So a lot of people who are coming from countries where they don't trust that people will not spill their secrets about their net worth, I'm talking high net worth people, they would just say, I want to go in and have another nationality. They're not changing their name, by the way. Sometimes people who have no idea about how citizenship by investment or just any type of citizenship, second citizenship works, is that some people, actually nearly every client I've ever met, maintains the same name. They rarely change their name. And sometimes when you do change their name, it's not for nefarious reasons. It's sometimes for very simple reasons, personal reasons. So they're not running away from anything. It's just that they don't have confidence in their home country, or they find that their home country is overly invasive in their personal matters. And I've noticed this in a lot of countries, and unfortunately, more and more countries. I did a video recently about residency because I ended up doing probably one of the fastest residencies I've ever done. It took me literally 5 days from arriving to leaving. So that was a very smooth process. And I covered that topic in another video. So residency is often a path towards having a second passport, but it isn't. There are other options like citizenship by investment, for example, where you don't have to spend time there, or citizenship by descent, likewise. And then obviously you have others, citizenship by birth, citizenship by marriage. So you can also do citizenship by exception. The problem we have with citizenship by exception is a lot of people don't understand what it is and what it means. It's also called citizenship by merit sometimes. Is that those are programs that aren't cut and dried. It basically involves a lot of people. And unfortunately, if anything happens, and if it's not done in the right way, you'll find yourself in a lot of trouble. And I have faced this many times. People come to me and they just say, like, I'm stuck. And then you ask them, well, how did you do this process? Who did you do the process with? And then I just sometimes have to tell them, like, you're in a whole world of pain. And the reason it went wrong is because of X, Y, and Z. But this is just to explain a little bit about all the options if you did want to obtain a second, third, and fourth passport. The thing that is also important is that passports are underpinned by citizenships, because citizenships allow you to renew your passport. If you've got a passport and you don't have any legislation that supports why you got that passport, that's also a problem. But the other thing is that people don't understand why you would need that passport or multiple passports until it's ultimately too late. So for example, if you go back, it's like, I didn't need to get my French passport, which I did through citizenship by descent. And people was like, well, why would you want to do that? And I was like, well, I want to because I could, and why not? Lo and behold, Brexit happens. I mean, Brexit happened about a decade later or several years later. So obviously I can't see into the future. That came to be, that came to pass. And then suddenly everyone's like, well, it's a good thing you did that. I wish I did that. So you're taking decisions now that are protecting yourself for unforeseen events in the future, which is essentially why people write wills and get insurance. Isn't that the same thing? So you've done a will, everyone has a will, and everyone has a life insurance or some kind of insurance. So people also get passports, because ultimately, those two things only matter that really when you're dead. But what about when you're alive? That's obviously you can have your trust and your foundations and so on, but passport is equally powerful tool. And you're seeing that it's becoming more and more popular culture. Not only when it was Brexit did it happen, but also when we had COVID, and I found myself rushing to be with my family and couldn't get on the plane, except other people couldn't get on the plane, but I could, because the plane was only accepting people who were European residents or European national. I was both a European resident and a European national. I got on the plane, and I remember seeing all the other people who were stuck in the UAE and were stuck there for that lockdown until they had expatriation flights about 3 months later. So luckily I wasn't in that. Why? Because I made a decision years ahead of schedule, just in case, and until that just in case happens. And as a friend of mine keeps saying, it's like, you don't buy fire insurance when you're seeing smoke coming in under the door. You do it way in advance. I can give other examples, but essentially a lot of people also get passports because of travel. Now, travel was never a problem with me. I was born in the UK, but I can tell you there was countries that I got visas for 1/5 of the price, so 20% of the price, because I had a second or third passport. When the ETA has come in, so now they asked for the ETA, which is implemented in UK. Again, because I got my wife a second passport, she just said at the time I didn't really need it. I was like, look, we do it every single day for our clients and have been doing it. Take it. This could be of use one day. And then so when Colombian passport got stronger, it didn't have Schengen, didn't have UK, then it got Schengen, then it got UK. But then afterwards, UK implemented ETA, and then her having another nationality helped because she didn't need to get stuck with an ETA, as a lot of people did. By the way, you also have the ETIAS, which is the European version of the ETA, which is kind of like the ESTA, which you have in the United States. And that's going to be coming in as well. So that is also, I mean, it's always been delayed, but eventually it will come online. I think it's coming in 2026, but that's also going to come in, and you need to be prepared for that one as well. So you can see what's happening is the more that we have regulation, the more that people will try and find ways to make their life easier, because nobody likes over-regulation. We understand that why we should have regulation, because otherwise we're literally in the cavemen fighting over rocks. But essentially, it's now getting to the point where people are saying enough is enough, because at the highest level, it's invasive, and at the lowest level, it's just extra paperwork, and nobody needs extra paperwork. There are many, many other reasons as well I can talk about, and one thing I don't think people really talk about is social mobility. Social mobility is what helped me to be able to have the life that I have, because I didn't have those opportunities when I was younger, and I find that a lot of people also share this. So one of those things, okay, it didn't have an impact on me in terms of social mobility, but for my clients, I have noticed it many, many times. You don't understand the difference it can make for you. That's a nutshell why you should start to have multiple passports. I did it for myself, and I do it for hundreds, actually over 2,000 of our clients we have helped. And there is nobody complaining about ever making that decision. I think that tells you everything you need to know about if you're wondering if you should or should not get a second nationality. And lastly, please always remember, get yourself in order. It takes a long time to be psychologically comfortable with this, to be financially ready to do this, and to get your paperwork in place, because everything requires paperwork. So get yourself in order. It takes a year. Well, it doesn't take a year, but it takes sometimes a year, some of these programs, but it will take you time to prepare yourself. So better to be a year early than a day too late. This is what I tell my clients who missed the boat in Spain, or when Turkey increased the prices, or when Caribbean increased the prices, or when Cyprus closed, or when the other ones closed. It's just get yourself in order, start the process so you don't miss the boat. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you on the other side.